Thank you for coming out today. It's good to see all of you. Some of you are my friends. Some of you have not been friendly. But I welcome you to the Liberty and thank you for coming out. To the longtime followers of the Liberty and the WNBA, thank you again for coming out, and also for those who have just started following the WNBA and have come to our facility and seen our players. Welcome. I hope you enjoyed practice, and I hope you saw what I'm very excited about. Our players are excited about the season. I think the WNBA is emerging and growing. If you look at the way the game of basketball is played today, particularly in the NBA, which all of us cover, watch, write about, talk about, the game is played below the rim. 20 years ago, almost 18, 19 years ago when the WNBA started, it was always compared to Michael Jordan because he had set the standard of above the rim play. So everything was compared to, can you dunk, how high in the air can you be? But now when you look at basketball and you look at our sport, and Steph Curry being the MVP of our league, we talk about passing, we talk about cutting, we talk about fundamentals, we talk about how beautiful passing, fundamentally sound, shot-making basketball is. Well, I can say to you, the women have been doing that for 18 years. And I say to all of you, if you just come out and watch, I know you're here to cover me today and talk and ask questions, but when you talk to Essence and when you talk to Swin, you talk to Tina, they've been doing this for a long time. And I hope you give them the opportunity to come out and watch the game and encourage people to come out and watch the game. Because I'm on my third commissioner now in the NBA. And I was around when basketball in this country, particularly NBA basketball in this country, we didn't know if it was going to make it. Our arenas wasn't always packed. We didn't have media coverage at every game. There were racial discussions in our league. We didn't know if sponsors would come out and support and watch African Americans play. And a lot of the things that are happening in the women's game today was happening in the men's game. But we persevered, we overcame the obstacles, and America fell in love with the sport. I love the game of basketball. I grew up watching basketball, I grew up playing basketball. And we never looked at it in terms of gender. The only time we were separated or segregated is when we went into the institution. But when we went outside to play, and I'm sure Swin, Tina, and everyone else, Essence, when they went outside to play basketball at the park, they were playing with the guys. So we never looked at the sport in terms of gender. And right now, this sport has a chance to explode in this country. They've already established an international footprint. Where the NBA is just establishing their international footprint, our Trailblazers have already established their international footprint. We just need America and our domestic public to fall in love with our sport like you fell in love with the men's sport. And I don't want to hear about the dunking anymore. Thanks to Steph Curry, who's got 3 shots. But if you watch Essence shoot, she shoots it just as good. So that's why I'm here. That's why I love the game. That's why I follow basketball, WNBA, NBA. Teresa Edwards was my favorite player. I don't know how many of you in here know who Teresa Edwards is, but that was my favorite player. And when I thought we had a chance to meet her or get an autograph, KB kind of fooled me on it, her and Lambeer. It wasn't the Teresa Edwards that I love, that I wanted to see. It was somebody else interviewing for a job. But Teresa, if you're out there, I hope I get a chance to see you, meet you, love you. Big fan. Now, with that being said, Again, I hope you enjoyed for the first time. If some of you seen our practice, you're welcome to come back anytime. And I hope you've had a chance to talk to our players and see how four-year college graduates speak and talk and conduct themselves, and the issues that we have around our sport. I've been on the public stage since I was 17 years old, and I talk about race, class, and equality. Those are the things that I fight for. I am an activist. I've used my sports platform for activism, and these discussions that we have in our sport today, they need to be discussed. They need to be talked about. And sports is the place where we've come in the past, present, and in the future to have these discussions and to have these conversations. So thank you for coming out today. Thank you for coming to watch all players play. I hope this isn't the last time you come back. I hope all of you decide to bring a family member, son, daughter, uncle, cousin, grandmother, whoever you want to bring. But come to the game and watch. Come to the game and write. That's what I ask. Now, I open it up to questions. By the way, all you have covered me when I was with the Knicks. Thank you. Good to see you again. And we'll take Liberty questions now.
Isiah, how do you reconcile posing yourself as an activist, given obviously what we know with the issue with the sexual harassment suit? How does that reconcile?
I don't pose as an activist. If you go back and you look at my history, and my mother was a feminist activist, and I was raised by her. She has a street named by her in Chicago, after her in Chicago. I speak to activism, and I've been deemed controversial because I do speak out on race. I do speak out on equality. So I'm not posing, and I'm not hitting back. I'm just giving facts and giving my record.
How do you speak out on women's equality based on a conviction of sexual harassment in the workplace?
Well, I've always maintained my innocence, and I've moved on from that. Our organization has moved on from that. I've lived my life. If you go back and you look at the way I've lived my life and the people who have dealt with me personally, I'm proud of the way I lived my life, and I'm proud of the man that I stand here today before you.
There's been reports that you bought into the team. Can you discount that or confirm it?
I cannot talk about what's going on in terms of the ownership level at this point in time. That is confidential discussion. However, what you've read and has been accurate.
Isiah, the players said that you and James Garland met with them before the first practice to discuss the sexual harassment case. What was your message to the players in that forum, and why did you think it was necessary to do that?
It was necessary to do it because we live in a society now where everybody, the information that's out there, some's accurate, some's not accurate, and we felt that it was necessary to meet, discuss, have an open forum, and let all players ask any questions, and then give our side. And we're not. We're confident in the fact that the players that we have and the people that are in this room, that they're grown women and they can make up their own minds and come to their own conclusions. And it was a healthy and good discussion.
Isiah, in the context of that forum that you had, what would you say is the most difficult question you had to answer?
The most difficult question for me has always been the questions that you're asking me now, because the pain and the hurt that my family, everybody's family, in our sport has had to go through around this issue. It hasn't been pleasant for any of us, and I'm sure there's some of you sitting in the audience who don't want to sit in the audience and be asking me these types of questions. But I will say this. It has made our sport better. It has made our society better. and it's made humanity better because it's out of the closet and we discuss it and we talk about it. And I think the more we talk about things, as painful as it may be, as hurtful as it may be, we all grow as individuals, we all grow as a society, and we all grow as a sport.
Isaiah, because of a perception that you could have some influence with the Knicks situation, have you tried to talk to Phil or talk to Phil just about, being with the Liberty now?
Because of that perception, I haven't.
Well, do you want to talk to him?
I think all of us in this building, and we all share the same building, Rangers, Knicks, Liberty, we all root for each other, we all want each other to do well, we all want each other to win.
How do you feel you were received, not only by the team after that meeting, but by the WNBA tournament?
I can only live every day as, myself and put my best self forward, put my best foot forward. And I can tell you that my interaction with people and the way I've been treated internationally, not only just in this country, but in other countries, has been very warm and very receptive.
What's it like having Bill Lambier here as your coach?
It's been great having him. It's been great reconnecting with he and her. Lambier and I go back a long time, since 1979. We've known each other that long, and we roamed together for 12 years in the NBA when we went to training camp. He's been married 30 plus years. I've been married 30 years. Our kids have grown up together. They know each other. So it's always good to be in his presence. He's been a great friend. We disagree on a lot of things. We don't agree on many things. We have our battles. We love a healthy debate. And the thing that I love about him, and I'm sure our players can attest to, at the end of the day, he's all about trying, again, to make society better, make our game better, and that's all we're about. And we have had healthy, lengthy discussions about that, and healthy, lengthy disagreements. But it's been good.
Isaiah, when Donovan used to coach this team with New York Liberty, our coaches in Connecticut, was some pretty unfavorable things to say about you coming back into this league and coming into the league. And there's lots of females in executive positions and coaches in this league. And I'm just wondering, do you think you're going to have to address them directly at some point, and not just Ian Donovan, but the ownership of the Seattle team, which is all women and everything, and answer whatever questions they have?
I hope I do get to address all of them individually as I continue to walk this path. Because there's not many things that, in terms of their beliefs and their stands on domestic violence, sexual harassment, I'm in agreement with. I'm not disagreeing with any of them in terms of where they stand. Now the things that they've said about me personally, I like for them to meet me themselves and judge from their own interactions with me. And whatever conclusions they walk away with, that's the conclusion they walk away with. But I'm pretty confident, and I feel pretty good about the person that I put forth and who I am in terms of my honesty and my peace with them.
Are you confident that you have the trust and the support of Liberty players?
Trust, trust is always, it's always given, it's never taken. And, in all our daily lives and all our relationships, we work on that trust. So, thus far, I think our relationship has been good, and we'll keep working on it.
How did this all come about? Whose idea? Was it Jim's idea?
It was actually Jim's idea. He asked if I would be interested in running a team, because he knew of my stances on, just me as a person in terms of my stance on equality, my stance on the game, and the 30 plus years that I've had in the NBA, seeing its ups and downs, and You know, the WNBA is in a very unique spot right now because we're still in our teenage years in the WNBA, but we're being compared to a fully grown, mature NBA that has had 50-plus years. And so we still have some hurdles that we have to overcome. And you being here today really helps us because we encourage you to come back. Don't just walk away today and say, hey, I covered the story, blah, 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 and never come back. That would be hurtful in itself also.
So you've had some really good, your roster has some college players with tremendous scars. Do you see yourself getting on the court with them and working with them to make them, good pros?
I will do my best. I've actually, I've been on the court a couple of times with several of our players, and Lambier has asked me to work with a couple of them, and I've tried to impart as much knowledge as I possibly can about our game. And again, our game, when we look at the game, we as athletes, we don't look at our game and view it through a gender lens. So we go out and we play. And so the knowledge that I hope that I was able to impart and will continue to impart, I hope it's helpful.
Isiah, do you envision yourself going back into the NBA at some point in some capacity?
I don't, you never know where life takes you. And I don't think there's anyone in this room who can stand here or sit here today and say, 3 years from now, I'll be here. I live in the present. I stay focused on my present, and this is where I'm at today. I'm going to do the best job that I possibly can do here, and that's it. I didn't, you never know where you're going to end up.
Isiah, you mentioned 3 seconds. Going back, can you remember the first time that you were around women playing the game, that the switch went on and you said, yeah, I think you play the game pretty good too?
Well, again, we never, when you went to the park, you never looked at it in terms of gender. And, Dorothy Gators, who coaches Marshall High School, and she's, one of the winningest high school coaches, in the state of Illinois. And she coaches at Marshall, and when I was coming up, everybody played together. So when you went to the court, or the basketball court, you picked the best players. And sometimes they were female, sometimes they were male. Majority of the time, you did pick 2 females, and you had when we look at it now, you had a pretty balanced team. But you want to stay on the court, and if you can shoot and you can pass and you can set a screen, because all of us were this big, nobody could dunk. So you want to stay on the court, so you pick the best players.
Thank you, everybody.
We're done.
We're done. Thank you.
I didn't want to be rude.
Sorry, one more. Sarah, go ahead.
No, one more.
I was just saying, when you accepted the job, whatever deliberation you went through in your own mind, did you contemplate bringing negative attention? I mean, you had to know what the public perception was going to be.
Absolutely.
And were you concerned about that?
We were concerned. We talked about it. But at the end of the day, you can only live your honesty. You can only live your truth. And what I know from being an African American male in this society, perception, they say perception is reality, but we know that perception is not accurate. And what we wanted to do here is just deal with being accurate, and we knew that, this would cause some concern, but we also knew that at the end of the day, moving forward, if we can convince you to come back, and we can overcome this obstacle and this hurdle, there's a bigger and a better story to be told. And the WNBA will, just as the NBA did, when all of this was kind of in the air back when some of you were covering it. Just as the NBA overcame its obstacles, I believe the WNBA is going to overcome its obstacles with your help. And if we don't have your help and your support, and you challenging us, and you holding us to the standards that we all should live by in society and humanity, we want those standards high. All players want those standards high. I want them high.
So you guarantee a championship today?
Swin. We're working on it.
How much of a role did you have in the selection of the different players that you guys acquired over the offseason?
We, draft night was interesting, over the months, we had a lot of conversations. We did scouting. I hadn't come on full-time or officially yet. So we did a lot of scouting. We did a lot of talking. And, KB was the leader of the pack. She nailed it on draft night. Lambert nailed it. I thought we had good scouting. I thought we had good information. I got my master's from Cal, so I knew Brittany well because she graduated from Cal, so I was able to talk to all her professors and all her academic advisors and so forth and so on. And Stokes was right up the road, so I was able to drive up, sneak in, walk around campus, and even talk to a couple of former players that I coached there who happen to coach at UConn right now. So we had some pretty good intel on draft night, and I thought we did a good job. I remember watching when Amber was they played UConn out at Stanford. And I remember watching that game, and I kept saying, they can't stop her from going left, but she goes left all the time. But they couldn't stop her. But the thing that impressed me the most about that game is UConn had the ball out of bounds under their basket with maybe a minute or... How much time was in the game, Amber? Come on, it was under your... Come on, you... How much time was in the game when UConn get Stokes? How much time was in the game when y'all couldn't get the ball in? How much time? Anyway, they had trouble inbounding the ball. Now, this was the big moment for me. Okay, you got the coach of Stanford, who is the game is always evolving. So you got the two best coaches. You got Gino, you got Tyra, and they going at it, right? But Stanford has totally changed the way they play the game. Their dribble drive, they shooting the three. Stanford was, come down, pass it, set it up, get it inside. Totally changed their game, right? Gino, one of the best coaches ever, okay, and they're going at it. And seeing UConn struggle to get it in bounds let me know, again, that in this game, it's a game that you never master, it's a game that you always make mistakes in, and it's a game that you can always get better. So, we're not perfect, the game's not perfect, none of us are perfect, but we always strive to get better. And I hope all of you come out, continue to watch our players, continue to critique and judge our season, our ups, our downs, our highs, our lows, and, tell your friends. My mama used to say, nowadays you can't discipline your kids the way you used to discipline them. But my mom used to discipline me, right? And I would say, Mom, you crazy. She would say, yeah, tell your friends. Tell your friends. So I'm telling all of you, tell your friends. Tell them to come watch our game, come see us play, come enjoy it. Thank you for coming out today, and we give you a big hand for coming out, supporting us, and keep coming back, keep watching our players, because There are some great stories in the WNBA. There are some great stories sitting over there on the couch. I encourage all of you to get to know them, just as you have gotten to know the NBA players and their stories. So if we're about equality, let's be equal here. Thank you.